people talk about the passions, I was confused. I mean, because modern Western people think, oh, passion, you're talking about like you have a passion for playing guitar, you have a passion for your Bill Cosby impressions, which I do, but that's not really what passions mean in the theological context of the fall and disordered passions. Could you comment on that?
Yeah, so again, first things first, words are equivocal. They have multiple meanings. And what we mean by passions is not being, i.e., passionate about something. That guys were just supposed to be stoic all the time and just, never experience any types of it's not emotions. What passions are typically identified with base desires and an inversion, where your desires, typically associated with your senses, are now ruling your will. So as Paul says, the things that I will to do, I do not do. And that which I will not to do, that's the thing that I do. He's speaking about the passions, that your bodily desires are ruling your will. And the fathers speak of this. It goes all the way back to Plato too. Too much freedom is slavery. Do what thou wilt is a trap of the modern world, and it will lead you into becoming a slave to your all your sensual desires, and you will become less human. You will not become a human par excellence. But you will become a slave and a degenerate. So that's what we mean by passions.
So are the passions? I think it's an interesting concept. So like the passions aren't inherently bad, right? Like in and of themselves, these. So you have hunger, right? Like so we get hungry because if we don't eat, we're gonna die, right? We have to eat. If we don't eat at all, we'll wither away. Or we have sexual desire, which can create families and bring new life, but they can be like played on, right? I mean, what are the passions in and of themselves bad?
Great point. Great question. That's an excellent point. So in and of themselves, they're not bad. What we're seeing here is a disorder, and Jay and I talked about this before. It's not just the passion, your physical senses. It's also the intellect. That there's a hierarchical order established in the creation of man with Adam and Eve. That the deepest, most inner region of man, which in Orthodoxy we call the nous, retranslated from intellect to be something like the eyes of the heart. That is the place where you speak to God, they connect to God. And that informs, and this is where love is, by the way, that informs the intellect and the will and the physical senses. So what happens when we sin, when we break that, we make a disorder, we invert. Now I'm an Epicurean. I let my physical senses dictate what eat, drink, do as much physical sensations as I want. That's what we mean by the passions. So physical sensation itself is not bad, but it's when and how much. All of these are important questions. And as Aristotle says, the senses are dumb. There's no intelligence in the senses. And Plato talks about this too, you let your senses rule you, you're a dummy. You're going to end up in bad things. And so God established a proper order. And this is what the Orthodox life's about. This is what the disciplines and asceticism's about. And this is what about fasting is, to reorientate ourselves and put the whole of mankind back into proper order and synergy.
I think, a good analogy a lot of people make is addictions. And I think it was a Greek priest or in the Greek sphere, Father Moody, who said to me one time, he was giving a good analogy for this. And he said that, all of us really are just addicts on different degrees and addicts to different things. Even if you don't have a drinking addiction, we all have some kind of addiction to something like, oh, we like our pride being stoked. We like our ego. We like, secretly we like to, gossip about people. Those are all versions of addictions to things that are misuses of our senses or of our faculties or whatever. So in a way, every one of us is just like the guy who's addicted to heroin, right? We may not be addicted in the sense that it's as damaging to our body as the dude on meth or heroin, but sin is a disease that has affected all of us in some degree. So just a helpful analogy.
Great. That's actually a great analogy, Jay.